thing you want with Big L was a fair one. Cause in the street brawl, I strike men like lightning. You seen what happened in my last fight, friend? I beat kids with lead pipes. I leave trails of dead mics where I'm from. Niggas, Jews get ran like red lights. Old folks get mugged and raided. Crimes are drug related. And we live by the street rules.
Yeah, and he was hot. Whole shit was hot, but you heard L shit, you was like, oh shit.
Hey, Sing, I know this is a tough one for you because you a Hyro guy, man. You love Dell.
I do love Dell. I really do. I just gotta say, because we just heard that little clip on Big L, my favorite line by him ever is, I only roll with originators. Chicks stick to my dick like magnets on refrigerators. Woo! That's crazy. I love that. But, yeah, I mean, this one was hard, absolutely, for me personally, because I got love for Dell. But we've actually had, it was interesting, BC, I think you saw on Facebook the dude that commented on Bonte's post that is born and raised in San Francisco, and he basically said, you know, nobody cares about Dell.
Yeah.
And, you know, I disagree with him, like, vehemently.
Right.
But I think, you know, it's interesting because in the underground, I think Dell is like a king for a lot of people, but a lot of people don't really fuck with Dell on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, Deltron 3030 shit was crazy. Both Sides of the Brain. You know, most of the people don't even know he's Ice Cube's cousin. Right. He's like the godfather of hieroglyphics. He's well respected around the globe. So I thought this one was going to be closer on the voting, but it's looking like Big L is going to get an easy ticket to round 2.
You know, on that note, I think that I think the black audience lost him when he started to go like, you know, Dell 3030, similar to when RZA did Bobby Digital.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And he lost his black audience, unfortunately. And it's a shame. And this happens in a lot of cultures, you know, where an artist is really going deep into what they do.
Right.
And it's too deep. Mm-hmm. And they're like, back on the block, like, yo, Dell, you lost me, bro.
Yeah, right.
I don't, and not that he went pop or he went soft.
They just didn't get it.
They didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like he was intellectually too far advanced, and you know it's a shame. And I think that reflects some of the voting. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you're definitely hitting on something there, and I would even go back further to say that as far as the black audience was never really fucking with him tough because of just the way he is. Like he's like extraterrestrial. You know what I mean? Like if you see him live, you know, like he's got like a shirt wrapped around his head, and he's like meditating on stage, like while spitting with his eyes closed, type shit. You know what I mean? That's why he was perfect for Deltron 3030 to combine with like Dan the Automator and Prince Paul and those cats. Is like that's right up his alley, and that's why it works so well. Right. But on that note, like commercially, he was never that successful with radio hits because he's so quote unquote weird. You know, he's out there a little bit, and a lot of backpack rap cats love that, but the more mainstream folks are like, you know, Dell, they can take him or leave him. So
you don't translate.
You know, he's a really interesting cat. I love him. I always love him. But I think Big L, even me, I think I had to vote for Big L. So this is really close for me. But I went with Big L by like a buzzer beater in the fourth quarter.
That's why you miss out the whole black culture. Because remember, he was with Cube, and after his first album, it was almost like he left Cube because he wanted to do the outside stuff. And I think when we look at our culture. And I can think we can speak on better here. But when we look at our culture, especially in the early '90s, it was almost frowned upon. Like if you were listening to rock, you were always looking like, "Whoa, what do you mean? You black? It's either R&B, hip hop, and rock was black music to begin with." Right. But like if you went outside of the block, quote unquote, something's wrong with you. Right. You're a weirdo, and he was the epitome of that. You know, because it's funny because like if this is 20 years now. Dell would have been accepted easily.
Oh yeah.
Because now
all this nerd weirdo rap, he would fit right in.
You know, because that's more accepted.
And he was
now.
drugging.
You know what I mean? Versus that, versus then it was like, nah, you gotta stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He come out a new rapper now. All the pill poppers, oh hell yeah, you know.
Right.
And stuff, and it's good and it's bad, you know, because granted he should have had the same love then, versus now. But like you said, once he started doing that certain lane, he also allowed black audience to be like, you're not being hood enough. You're not talking that gangster shit. You know what I mean? Why are you talking about all this extraterrestrial stuff? Why are you talking about these equations? Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Right. You know what I mean? If it ain't about kilos or whatever.
Right. Word. Man. Well, I think we did that with justice, man. So we'll slide to the next 10-7 matchup, which is Scarface and DMX. This one's close. I think X got him by like 51, and Scarface is like at 49. I think this is a close one. I went personally. I took I took Scarface on this one. Just because of what he did with the Ghetto Boys, Southern Rap Pioneer. Both of them had lengthy careers. I think DMX flamed out a little at the back end. But I'm not mad. I don't, this one is like a toss-up, man. I don't, whoever wins is.
I went with DMX's favorite rapper, who is Scarface. And I don't get, like, when we talk about longevity, Scarface is still making quality albums today.
Sure.
Deeply Rooted, as well as Deeply Rooted, The Lost Files. And I happened to see him live for the first time back in November last year. He can still spit. There's certain, right? Remember, he's from the 80s. Yeah. So when we look at like Kane, G-Rap, Kim, and all this stuff, and no disrespect to them, like, but Scarface is still putting out quality albums now, right? Still to this day. And I can't say that a lot with some of these other rappers, you know what I mean? And we can say that Rakim's better or whatever, but like Scarface is still making better albums now, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
And
Deeply Rooted was a good one. A good one.
And as much as I love X, it became a love-and-hate relationship after the second album. As far as his direction on where he was going. But I mean, he brought back a street element of hip hop back in the late 90s when everybody was getting jiggy with it, flashy with it. He went back to the core, response. But I had to go up to Scarface on this one.
Yeah, man, I went with Face Mob, man, of course.
Face Mob.
And I love X. This was probably the hardest battle for me because, like, I respect both, but the older I get, the more I can relate to Scarface, and I just put up a post about that. Mm-hmm. Like, I listened to a song from his last album, Deeply Rooted, called You. Incredible. And he's talking about his mom, and then, his mom told him that his kid's going to do the same thing that he did to her, and my mom said the same thing to me. And it's like, yo, man, everything that Scarface, I never heard a Scarface song that I couldn't relate to, And I'm like, yo, man, and the same with X, too. It's like, it's interchangeable. Anything, like, it could either be either one for me, but, just recently I just heard some new Scarface, so I was like, I'm gonna go with Face Mob.
So you last the bat, brother, on this one.
There's a couple MCs in this bracket that I have to keep it 100 with y'all and be like, I need to go back and do my research a little more and listen, because Scarface is one of those cats that kind of slipped through the cracks with me where I never got deep into his catalog and really listened to his full records and whatnot. But, so for me, this one was easy for DMX because, like, when It's Dark and Hell Is Hot came out at that time in my life, like, I was really, deep into hip-hop, and, that album will always, like, have a place in my heart. And, I think, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood is an underrated album.
Mm-hmm.
And I love DMX. I fuck with DMX, so this one was somewhat easy for me. I will say that on the voting, this one is one of the closest matchups we have.
Yeah,
on both Facebook and Twitter. This one is really close.
Yeah, so I'm assuming Twitter right now, as of today, Scarface is at 35, X is at 65. It may be different on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking? Yeah, I think on one of them it's like damn near 50-50.
Okay. Well, hey, X has got him a little bit on Facebook. I'm going by the Facebook for right now, but yeah, this is a good matchup though.
Right.
Good matchup. So we'll do Pun and Sean Price. Oh, this is another one, man. This is another pressure cooker. You know, I had to go with the Punisher, man. I mean, yeah.
Now, to me, it was a no-brainer, and I love Price because Price was able to reinvent himself. I mean, he was Ruck.
Oh, you took Price over Sean?
No. Oh, no.
Okay.
I took Pun.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, as far as Sean Price is concerned, as far as somebody being able to reinvent themselves, to me, it was one of the best reinventions. You know what I mean? Because when you thought Helter Skelter, the first thing you went through the thing was Rock, not Ruck.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I was a Rock head.
Yeah.
So when I heard Ruck was like, I'm going by Sean Price now, I'm like, what is this?
Right.
And I'm hearing them, I'm like, whoa, like these are some of the most ignorant, disrespectful lines ever, and I love it.
Right.
You know, I love it.
Right.
But, you know, when we talk about Pun, and you can make your argument, Pun only had like 2 albums. You know, Endangered Species came out after the fact, and a lot of those were old records. But for 2 albums, when you had somebody like Nas said, listen, I heard Pun's verse, and I had to rewrite my verse because I was nervous. And Nas never said that about anybody, you know, other than Pun. And you talk about somebody who was a student of the game. When he met G-Rap, he got on his hands and knees like, yo, you my father.
Right.
You know, and like when I first heard Capital Punishment, because I can't remember the MTV show they had, but they had this show on there, and it was almost like, you know, hit or miss type show. There was a Beatnik song, you know, off the books with Pun and Cuban, and I remember they were just laughing it off, like, who's this big guy calling himself Big Punisher? I'm hearing this verse, like, yo, this boy kind of nice. Right. And, you know, and our boy, you know, me, Kevin, Fred, singers, Fred, you know, Kevin, great. He's like, yo, when everybody was on the X-Wave, our boy Kevin, like, yo, you need to hear this boy Big Pun. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, who's, you know, and I remember from off the books, but I didn't hear anything else after that. But I remember hearing Capital Punishment. I remember hearing, you know, the first song, you know, Beware. And I'm like, yo, this guy's a problem. You know, when he said false victory, y'all niggas can't do shit to you. I'm like, when he just kept going on, I'm like, nah, like, and Brandon, tell you right now, like, Pun, like, I put Pun over Biggie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I love Biggie. Right. But when we talk about bar for bar, we talking about this, like, somebody who shoot your head off. Like, Biggie can't shoot, not going to shoot Pun's head off. You know what I mean? I love Biggie.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, well, listen, I mean, and we talk about songs. That's what I'm saying. We talk about songs like
they went at it in a cipher.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The cipher, I can't give it to Biggie. Yeah, you know, and when I look at this in this lineup between him and Price is so it's closer than what a lot of people realize, and even with Price's cannons, I hear a little bit of Pun, not so much with the multi-syllables, but how he delivers some of his, you know, his flows and stuff. But I had to give it to Pun on this one, you know.
Okay. Yeah, man. I took Price, man. I took Price only because I've been recently introduced to a lot of Sean Price. Like, you know, I really didn't know a lot about Sean Price prior to his untimely death, but just from what I studied and then what I really listened, I'm like, oh man, this guy's amazing. And then, you know, the things about Pun started coming out, and you know, some people can't separate the artist from the music, or the artist from their actual everyday life. And then when I started hearing what his son was saying about Pun, you know, kind of turned me off, kind of turned me down. I was like, nah. Yeah, you hot, but you know, you kind of fall a couple levels.
All right, well, let me ask you.
Hold on, for this son?
Because
you talking about the domestic violence.
The domestic violence.
But here's the thing though. If that's your argument and that's cool, then you can't have Biggie here.
Wait, in my top 5?
We're talking about the bracket. No, because exactly what you said was when you start hearing about the other stuff.
Well, I'm not taking Raz Kaz over.
Well, I'm not saying, but I'm saying in general though. Biggie, how many times did Biggie?
Well, Biggie's not in my top 5.
All right.
Biggie's not in my top, and Biggie said a lot of suspect ass shit.
Oh man, come on.
But we not getting there today. Yesterday was March 9th.
Today is Sunday.
Yeah, we not getting there. I'm just saying. You know, if I had to choose or whatever, yeah, of course, Pun is lyrically phenomenal, but you know,
I'm saying you can't put his domestic violence history in this. In fact,
yeah, I don't.